two new models inside OpenAI. So you can see these right here. They've basically said by request, GPT 4.1 will be available directly inside ChatGPT starting today. So if you want to get access to this, you can go over to ChatGPT, like you can see right here. And then inside the model section, you'll see two different models here. So you've got GPT 4.1, which is great for coding and analysis, and also GPT 4.1, which is fast for everyday tasks. Now, actually inside the AI Success Lab, free link inside the comments and description, you can get access to 100 different use cases for using ChatGPT 4.1 plus a guide, which I'll come on to in a minute on exactly how to use this. But essentially, this is their brand new model, so 4.1. Now, it's very different to other models, and they actually have some benchmarks here. So you can see the benchmarks in terms of how it performs. It actually does outperform GPT-4o by quite a long way. And with this new model, which has just been brought to ChatGPT, you can see that was just announced on May the 14th. You can see basically the model has been used to help software engineers who are using ChatGPT to write or debug code, but also it's got a lot of other powerful models. Now, they've created a full prompting guide on it here, which is actually quite complicated, and I've actually broken it down into step-by-step pieces which you can get inside the AI Success Lab, and I'll walk you through it in a second. But essentially, this is a very different model to what you'll typically get. So for example, like one of the main things here is like this is more agentic, and it's better for agentic workflows, which means that if you ensure inside your prompts, when you're prompting it, that you have these prompt reminders to be persistent, this ensures that the model is going to understand and enter its multi-message turn and prevent it from prematurely yielding control back to the user. What does that mean? Well, essentially, if you go inside ChatGPT and you're using 4.1 for generating outputs, you can ask it to be more autonomous, right? And to keep going until it's really giving you the outputs you want, rather than giving up easily, which is awesome because it's a lot more autonomous. It's going to feel more like an agent. You're going to get better results with that. And it's really easy to set up step by step. So let me show you exactly what I mean and how to use this model and some of the best ways to get the most out of it. So for example, right? This is more like a little more obedient and more capable model, right? So the best ways you're going to get outputs out of this are just by giving it very clear instructions, breaking down complex tasks into steps, and then guiding it like a high-performing member. Now, one of the cool things about this model is it's actually quite good at data analysis. So for example, if we go inside here and we select more models and we go for the GPT 4.1, not GPT 4.1 mini, which I will come on to in a minute, but GPT 4.1. And then inside here, we can, for example, upload a spreadsheet that we want to analyze. So for example, if I analyze and upload this CSV here, and I say to ChatGPT, okay, from here, mate, just start analyze the deal velocity of how many sales we typically get, but more importantly, how fast those sales deals are closed, right? So let's say you want to analyze the spreadsheet. You got your list of all the sales, all the contacts, all the people that closed with your sales team, and then you want to analyze, right, okay, over the last 100 or 200 deals, how fast are we closing them? Are we closing most clients within 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 1 day, etc., right? So that's what we're going to ask it to do. We're going to say analyze the deal velocity of how many sales we typically get, more importantly, how fast the sales deals are closed, and also break it down by percentage and give me some fun facts, and then make the report interesting and fun, right? And so for example, it can be quite good. And then, you know, for persistence, we can say keep going until you've got everything you need. And then also inside the prompt here as well, you can say you are an AI sales agent, right? AI sales operations agent. So we say, right, you're a sales operations agent, analyze the deal velocity, make the report interesting, fun, keep going until you got everything you need, right? So you see how we've told it's an agentic agent right there, and also we've said, right, keep going until you get everything you need, right? Don't stop here. And then you can see we've actually got a bunch of tools here. So we've got deep research, create image, and also canvas, which I'll come on to in a minute. I'll explain that in a minute, right? So whilst we're waiting for that to load, we can do exactly the same thing, same prompt, with ChatGPT 4o, right? ChatGPT 4o. So for example, if we take this prompt here and we use exactly the same process, and most people don't realize this, but if we upload, for example, the file of the CSV, which we've got right here, we're then going to upload that right there. Now, you might be wondering, okay, is this available in ChatGPT Plus? It is available in ChatGPT Plus. You can get access. It's available inside there. So it's literally just come out like a couple of days ago. As you can see, this announcement was made on May the 15th. And you can also see here it says Plus, Pro, and Team users will be able to access GPT 4.1 via the More Models drop-down in the model picker. Enterprise and Edu users will get access in the coming weeks. And we're also introducing GPT 4.1 Mini, which is awesome. And they've also explained some safety evaluations, which we can come on to in a minute as well, in terms of like, you know, what you need to be careful of and that sort of thing. So you can see the breakdown here. Now, this is the breakdown from ChatGPT 4.0. And this is the breakdown from ChatGPT 4.1, right? So if we have a look, exactly the same prompt, exactly the same data, and if we compare them side by side now, you can see that we actually get a much more in-depth example report from ChatGPT 4.1. Not only that, but it also feels a lot more human. So it feels like an A player in your team. So for example, it's like, here's how I'm going to break down the deal velocity for you. Here's the velocity report. It's analyzed it really nicely. Now, if we compare that side by side versus something like ChatGPT 4.0, you're going to see the difference in outputs right here. So let's compare them side by side. So even the formatting of it just doesn't look as nice, right? This just looks a lot nicer. This is more like a report, as an example. And here's the other thing that most people don't realize, right? So in this report, there was actually 188 leads. But for some reason, ChatGPT 4.0 gets totally confused and thinks it's got 848 leads, right? Which is totally wrong. So don't do your analysis with ChatGPT 4.0, my friends, especially now that you've got ChatGPT 4.1 inside the chat. It is a lot better analysis. It's going to give you better results, and it's just a lot more accurate, right? There's less hallucinations. And also, like, look at that. This is so short. Like, if we actually look at this report, we'll scroll down here. We're going to just check the word count there. So it only gave us 124 words in terms of the report. And that's on the old version of ChatGPT 4.0, which is what most people are still stuck using. Now, if we open up the report from ChatGPT 4.1, we'll scroll down here. We're just going to open this up and click on count words. You see, it's 3 times as long, 312 words. It also explains what this means for you. So half your deals or leads close in 1 day. 3 out of 4 deals close in a week. About 1 in 4 take a while, right? We've got the quick breakdown for analytics lovers here. So how many deals and percentage of all closed deals. So for example, 32% of all our deals close within 1 day. And then also it explains like the percentage here. So it's like, right, close within 7 days, 75%, and then 24% of your sales come after 7 days. So the main thing here is like, it's a lot more interesting. It's a lot better, a lot more in detail. It's a lot more accurate. And most people don't even know about this update yet. So it's really good stuff, really cool. And then you can also switch to GPT 4.1, which is not as good for coding and analysis, but you will get better outputs for just everyday stuff, right? Now, I've got a bunch of prompts. I actually got like 100 prompts inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments description if you want to get free access to all the instructions from today. And we'll come on to all those prompts and examples right here. Now, before we do that, I want to run you through like, okay, what makes a good prompt inside ChatGPT 4.1 and how to get the most out of it, right? So for example, agentic prompts, you want to train GPT 4.1 to act like an assistant that owns the task from start to finish. So examples of what you should say in the chat, you know, you're my assistant, keep solving the task until it's fully complete, don't stop until you're done. Or if you're not sure about something, ask her, explain what you need. Think before each step. That's an important thing. So inside ChatGPT 4.1, you can trigger the reasoner mode just by saying think this through carefully, or analyze this, etc. Right? So for example, if we scroll up here, it did a lot. If we said, okay, trigger reasoner mode to analyze more about my sales process and efficiency, and we'll just make sure we've got the right one there. And you can trigger it to think more, right? Now, it's got step-by-step thinking, which is chain of thought. So you can say, like, think through the step before giving your answer. And you just get better outputs there. So you can see it's like taking a while to come back with the answers. If you want even deeper thinking, you can say like after each step, explain your logic. And then you get even deeper levels of reasoning inside the answers, right? So you can see here how you've gone from like a 300-word report to something that's a lot more in depth, a lot more interesting, a lot more thorough. And if we open that up, let's see how long that was. So that was 890 words in terms of the report. And we just get better insights, right? So if you want to get the most out of this model, it's down to you and how you use it. And this is how you use it, right? So for example, in this prompt to get the most out of it, what we said was after each step, explain your logic and what you do next. Plus, we said like trigger the reasoning mode and think about it carefully, right? What you wouldn't do is just tell me the answer. Like you'll just miss the magic of GPT 4.1's deeper reasoning. Now, you could use something like ChatGPT 03, but that, as powerful as it is quite slow to respond, right? So for example, if we open these up, let's pull these up and we'll start a new chat inside each. So we've got GPT 4.1 here and we got GPT 4.0 over here. I'll just grab that prompt from before. We'll open up a new chat here. So we've got GPT 4.0 and we're going to switch to 03. Upload the same CSV in both. And then we're going to use exactly the same prompt, right? And just compare them side by side. So 4.1 versus ChatGPT 03. Both are reasoning models, both are good for coding, but 03 typically tends to be a lot slower. So we've got exactly the same prompt. We gave ChatGPT 03 the head start. You can see the analysis mode that it's using right here. And you can see how quickly it's coming back to us, right? So it's actually already given us the answer, whereas ChatGPT 03 is still thinking about the answer. It's still figuring it out, right? So you just get much faster responses with a similar level of quality from 4.1. And that's a big difference here. Is like 4.1 is just going to give you better results overall. It is an absolute game changer when it comes to AI, but most people don't even use it. And I think that update that just came out totally went under the radar for like 99% of people. AY Television says, "Sup, you cheeky geezer, been a while. I'm in my other account. What's up? Good to see you here." And as we keep going through GPT 4.1, so you can actually use the memory as well, which is absolutely awesome, right? So you can add a memory and you can say only use the context I provided, or you can say like, use my previous responses here, etc. Inside the precise instruction following, you can give it exact rules on how to speak. Or like, don't repeat the same phase more than twice. Avoid fluff, be direct. Right, so you really want to be clear and direct with this model. Like if you don't, it no longer fills in the gaps. And that's going to hurt you if you don't understand that process properly. As you keep going through now, so prompt formatting tips. The more structure you add to this, the better it's going to be, right? So for example, you can see how you would use this layout versus like something that's really messy. So for example, add in the role, the objective, the instructions, and the tonality inside the prompt. And then fixing prompt failures as well. So, if something's not working, you can actually ask it like, are your instructions too vague? Did you forget to say what not to do? Are your expectations realistic? Like those are questions you can ask yourself to debug any prompts that you're struggling with, right? So if you want to get better outputs, you can give better prompts. How would you give better prompts? Ask yourself these 3 questions. Now, if you do come across a prompt that's not really working properly when you're using GPT 4.1, you can add some examples, you can add new sentences, you can clarify with, if you're unsure, just ask me first. And that will just give you better responses as well. So overall, this is a really good formula. It's inside the AI Success Lab. Just go into the free course, go to ChatGPT 4.1. This also comes with like an awesome community. It's kind of like a mini version of the AI Profit Boardroom. The AI Profit Boardroom, it gives you 10 times more value. Weekly calls, coaching, DMs, support, much more serious entrepreneurs, right? Like not many serious entrepreneurs are inside the free group. But if you want to get 100 prompt examples, the SOPs, etc., then go inside the free group, link in the comments description. You can get all this stuff, right? So for example, let's take a example right here. So we could ask it a question like this, right? And then we can go inside ChatGPT 4.1, which again is really good for thinking, right? So coding analysis, and we can say, okay, knowing what you know about me, right? Because it's got that memory, we can say, what's the 80-20 of improving client retention? And then it's given us specific pieces of advice based on my agency and what ChatGPT remembers about me, because it's got a memory section, right? And because it's using GPT 4.1, you're going to get much more like lifelike and well thought out responses, but you'll get them quicker than O3. So it's faster than O3, it gives you the same quality, but at the same time, it knows a lot more about you. And that's the other difference, say, versus using this in the API. If you use the API, which is also pretty good, 4.1 it doesn't have the memory inside the API, whereas inside ChatGPT, obviously you've got all your memory features inside the customize section here. So if we go to customize ChatGPT, it will have like all this information about you, who you are, what you do, previous notes you've given it, etc. And you can get better responses that way as well. So just overall, it's a much better model, a big upgrade. There's lots of cool stuff you can do with it, and it's a lot faster than any other reasoning models. Plus, you can trigger the reasoning model as well. You can see they just updated their May the 14th, 2025 safety evaluations hub, because it is a powerful model, right? And I can see why they're introducing all these different responses. So you can compare the models here, the safety responses, etc. You can see that they just brought it in, and it's available for Plus, Pro, and Team users. And then you can also switch here between everyday tasks, right? So if I went to faster for everyday tasks, we start a new chat here. GPT 4.1 mini will be better for stuff like, for example, okay, give me some cool films I could watch today, but knowing what you know about me, right? Just something like more simple, more direct, quicker, etc., right? And then it will just give you a bunch of ideas. To be honest, like... ChatGPT, it knows me so well. Like these top 5 films, I could happily watch any of them if I had the time, right? So, in fact, to be fair, all of those 10 films I actually quite like. So, yeah, that's basically how it works, how to set up, how to use it, etc. You've got 100 free prompts and a full prompting analysis guide inside the AI Success Lab. And if you haven't already, check out the AI Profit Boardroom, because the AI Profit Boardroom is really, it's a total level up. Like you get a tiny little bit, a little glimpse of what's going on inside the free group. But if you want like the best stuff, then go inside here, because it comes with weekly hot seat calls, Q&As. You get direct access to me. You can DM me any questions that you want. It's an awesome community, and see how active it is and how full of value it is as well. So there's lots of cool stuff going on in there. And also it comes with all of our best courses, agents, templates, workflows, etc. inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So feel free to get that link in the comments and the description, my friends. And AYW Television says a mastermind is everything together in one. It just comes with a lot more, right? So it comes with coaching, it comes with Q&A calls, it comes with DMs, it comes with an awesome community. Like, I mean, for example, if you compare the quality of the community inside the AI Success Lab, which is a free one, it's a lot of like us posting. It's not very active in terms of like an actual community posting stuff. But if you go inside the AI Profit Boardroom, it's like, it's A players only, right? It's people just serious about growing their business, asking for lots of help, getting questions answered whenever they need it. Vic actually helps run the community. He provides amazing information. And so like, if you need help, if you need coaching, if you need support, then the AI Profit Boardroom is the best to go for by a long way. So today we're going to be looking at the new update from Wave 9. Now Wave 9 have actually introduced a brand new model which is purely built for software engineering, which is pretty insane to be fair. And they're introducing a new family of models, SWE, SWE1 Lite, SWE1 Mini. And bear in mind, like ChatGPT is supposedly, well, OpenAI is supposedly buying Windsurf as well. So I think this is going to be a huge step up. It literally just got announced like 9 hours ago. So it's brand new. And, 99% of people have probably not had a chance to check this out. So if you haven't, let me talk you through it, my friends. And we'll run through exactly what it means, how it works, etc. Now, if you want to open this up or if you want to get access to it, you can get access. Just download Windsurf from Codium.com. And then you're going to find that it looks something like this. And we can open up the Cascade and start using this bad boy. All right. Now inside Cascade, you're going to see these brand new features here. So for example, we've got SWE Lite, which is free, right? We've got SWE-1, and we also have other models as well. And we can switch between writing and chatting. Now this is free. You can see right here it says free, in case anyone doubts me, anyone's worried, etc. So we can click on free, for example, here, and then we can start using it. So if we say, okay, build out an SEO quiz app, something like that, we can now start generating responses. And this is built specifically for software engineering, right? So if we open up the chat right here, it's planning out. It's really fast, actually, to be fair. Now it's going to run a terminal command and start setting up Vite. And now you can see it's installing the package. Now, CEO Alex says this should play into Windsurf, maybe, definitely moving in the direction of that acquisition. I would agree. I think this is a huge update. Is it related to something like ChatGPT 4.1's release this week as well? That would be interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on with Windsurf right now. Like, Wave 9, like the speed at which they're updating is absolutely wild. You can see here. So basically, if you want to know, okay, what are the differences between each? Well, for example, SWE1 is a new SWE1 model made by Windsurf, and it is free for a limited time for pro users. So if you're a pro user, you can get access for free. SWE-1 Lite is free for all use, free to use for all plans and tiers, right? All plans and tiers. That means it's free for you. Before anyone starts typing in the comments like, oh, it's not free or whatever, you can see it's free. And then we also have SWE-1 Mini. SWE-1 Mini is a revamped model for tab completion inside Windsurf. And, there was a bunch of improvements inside Wave 9, inside Wave 8. But Wave 9 is mostly about building with SWE. That is a huge update that's just come. Now, if you're wondering, okay, what is SWE? What does it mean, etc.? I'll walk you through that in a second. In the meantime, let's see how our app's doing. So it's working its magic right here. And it's going to start creating the app environment on the right hand side. Beautiful. Now if we go back whilst that's building out, and we'll come back and explain what Windsurf Wave 9 is. So these are frontier models built for engineering, not just coding. Quite different, right? Engineering versus coding. So what's also interesting is that SWE-1 has approximately Claude 3.5 Sonnet levels of tool call reasoning, whilst being cheaper to serve, right? It's available to all paid users for a promotional period. SWE-1 Lite is a smaller model that replaces Cascade Base at better quality, and it's available for unlimited use to all users, free or paid. So it doesn't matter whether you're on the free plan or on the paid plan, you can get access to SWE Lite. So it's now building it out. You can see it's coded out. For example, the assets on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, we have this coding. Pretty nice. You can also see here, down at the bottom, we have options. So we can do website preview, we can set up MCPs, and we can also deploy our applications as well if we want to, which is pretty cool. And that's working its magic now. So we'll see what it comes back with. I want to see what we can build with the the SWE first, and then we'll come on to other models in a second. And let's run through, okay, why have they done this? Well, they said models that can code have gotten way better, and, they've improved. But there's a couple of places these will plateau at, right? So any software developer will tell you that not all time is spent on writing code. So, for example, work in the terminal, accessing other knowledge, testing and playing with the products, etc., understand user feedback. This isn't just about writing code. That's not what developers do. And then also, software developers also talk about like how a lot of the foundational models are not that powerful, right? And so what they're trying to do is just trying to automate more the process of software engineering. So it says requires modeling. So automating more of your workflow requires removing the limitation, right? So it requires modeling the full complexity of the engineering process, reasoning over incomplete states with potentially ambiguous outcomes. So basically, it's not just coding. Like, that's not what software development is about. It comes with a lot more than that. So now it's creating the CSS now. Let's have a look where we're up to. It's working its magic over there. Happy days. And you can actually see the benchmarks for SWE right here. So for example, frontier models versus mid-sized models, etc. And you can see the benchmarks over here. So it's at a similar level of performance versus Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is great. It's also outperforming DeepSeek version 3, so you can see SWE-1 and SWE-Lite. This is outperforming, for example, Qwen 3 and Claude Haiku. But yeah, you get the point. Now, if we break this down in simple language, I've broken that down right here. So if you're wondering, okay, what did all that stuff mean that we talked about on Windsurf's channel? So basically, there's three models here. We've got SWE1, Lite, and Mini, right? Mini is the one that's free for all users. So what's different about this? Well, it's built up to speed up everything that software engineers do, which is like basically helping you get faster at development. And also, it's not just about writing code, but it also is designed to understand and interact with terminals, test products, read user feedback, and lean on ongoing projects. It's also designed to handle more tasks that are incomplete or ambiguous, like real-world engineering work, and it works really well with human input so that, you can jump in, add any human inputs that you need, and then get back to coding. They tested it offline, it performed pretty well, so compared SWE1 with other top AI models, and it scored really well, close to some of the best models in the industry. And in terms of what next, obviously SWE1 is just the beginning, so Windsurf is investing heavily to improve the models and bring even better performance, right? So let's see what we're getting back now from Windsurf. We can also run multiple windows at a time. So if we open up another window here, we can open up a new folder. let's put, for example, 3JS running game, just as an example. Open that up. Wait for Cascade to load, and then we can start using this magic. Now, also inside the settings here, I've actually recently uninstalled it because it stopped working for me and now it's working again, which is good. But you get a bunch of settings like you can see. And then if we go in Windsurf settings, general, we can actually add MCP servers. So over here, you can add an MCP server, which is pretty useful. And we can switch this on to like auto for auto execution in terminal. And there we go. We can also add servers here. Usually if I'm setting up an MCP server, I'm probably not going to use SWE. I would use Claude for doing that. But let's wait for this to load to see what we get back. You can also set up customizations here, so you can set up rules, workflows, memories, etc. So you can add like, we've added our brand colors, updated color scheme, etc. So if there's any rules that you need to set up, you can just go to the settings and then change that in the background too. I will say this is super slow for loading. Like, just to build a basics sort of theme like this, normally if you're using Visual Studio Code or Gemini 2.5 Pro, you're going to get way quicker output. So let me show you an example. So if we use exactly the same prompt, build out an SEO quiz app, and we just go straight to Gemini, we use Pro Preview, and we'll say build out a SEO quiz app. I can almost guarantee this will be done within like 30 to 60 seconds using Gemini 2.5 Pro, whereas Windsurf is taking absolutely ages. And you can see all the changes it's making right here. Now, even if, for example, I'm using something like Visual Studio Code, typically it's going to be quicker and faster than this. So it's quite interesting to see how slow it is. Let's try this. All right, so we'll stop the compute there, and then we'll say, can you just complete this and see if that works better? And then just to speed it up as well, I'm going to close the other window. So we'll just have one window running, see if that speeds things up. Now, if we go back to, for example, Gemini, exactly the same prompt to build out the quiz. You know, that's ready to go. It's working beautifully. We're living the dream, right? So, to be honest, like Windsurf is super, super slow for building stuff out. You can see how long it's taking. Even when I close the other windows, even when I just ask it to complete, it's not that impressive for me so far. Hopefully that will improve. I know as well, like typically when you bring out a new API, it'll be slow, right? And this is the same with Gemini 2.5 Pro. It's the same with all these other models. When they first come out, within the first 12 to 24 hours, it's going to be slow. But honestly, am I going to switch? Am I going to switch from Visual Studio Code or Gemini anytime soon for app building to Windsurf? From the looks of it, absolutely not. But let's run this terminal command to see what we get. Yeah, it's too slow. I mean, like, Gemini has just worked its magic here. If we actually compare this side by side, this would be quite interesting. So if we go back to coding locally, right? And we'll compare Visual Studio Code now, side by side. Because the thing is, right, like, you can have the best API in the world, but if it doesn't code within a reasonable time, then you've kind of defeated the object of trying to save time, right? So let's do exactly the same. We'll say build out an SEO quiz app inside Visual Studio Code, and you use Climb for this. Just make sure in OpenRouter we've got the settings set up, which we have. We're going to select Gemini 2.5 Pro, compare it versus SWE. So let's start a new text, and we'll say build out an SEO quiz app. Now, it could be that this is building out something absolutely insane inside Windsurf, but it also could be that we never find out because it takes so long. That is unbelievable. But let's see what Visual Studio Code does now, so you can see how quick it actually responds, how fast it's coding, etc. And you can get a free version of Gemini's API if you want. You just make sure you select the free one in OpenRouter. I'm using the paid one because it gives us the best outputs for a video. But if you want the free one, then you can go back to Visual Studio Code and start using that. So let's compare them side by side. We've got Windsurf working its magic here. It's setting up the install button CSS. It still seems to be really slow from what I can see. If you go back to Visual Studio Code, that has already created the app. Let's run it now, see what we get. Boom. Now, it's not looking great, to be honest, but at least we've got some sort of prototype that we can then create, right? So, for example, if I say, okay, now actually add in the questions plus answers, plus make the UI more sleek. And we'll see what we get back here. But this must be for, I mean, SWE must be for like creating something really crazy, because why would it take so long? Anyway, we'll go back to client now. We'll see what client gives us. Because right now, I mean, to be fair, the output was not great. Gemini is winning by a long way, you know, directly in the app. So it's come up with version 2 inside here. To be fair, it's still not giving us like the answers. I'm actually going to go back inside Visual Studio Code here and just say, mate, there's no SEO related questions plugged in here. When you're going to add them in? Now preview the app. Let's open it up. Open it up. Nothing there, mate. All right, thanks for that. Let's have a look. I'm going to say I can't see anything when I open it up. Now we're going to go back to Visual Studio Code. We'll run the command here. We'll click on Start and boom. App is ready to go. It actually looks quite clean, quite nice. I mean, it's not going to blow anyone's socks off anytime soon, but you get the point. Which of the following is on page? A key on page SEO factor. We'll go loading speed, boom. This man is a master of SEO right there. He's passing all the questions. So if we go back to Windsurf now, we'll accept that. See if that does anything. Let's check Windsurf. And yeah, it's just totally broken. So I'm going to close this down. I may not open that up for a while. But yeah, you get the point. I'm going to close both of these down. But yeah, if you do want to learn more about that, if you want to get all the resources, etc. that I've talked about today, feel free to get that inside the AI Success Lab. Link in the comments description. Inside here, it comes with a community of 5,600 members. You also get the free AI course, and this comes with all the course links and resources that I've talked about today, plus a full recipe on how to use Windsurf to code. And additionally, I've included 100 simple use cases for using Windsurf Wave 9 if you want to learn exactly what you could build and some example prompts right there. So feel free to get that link in the comments description. And if you want to upgrade to the AI Profit Boardroom, link in the comments description. And inside the AI Profit Boardroom, this is an amazing community focused on just making money and saving you time with AI. Comes with weekly coaching calls. It also has an amazing classroom of all these different courses. And additionally, the community is super active, right? Awesome community of people here. You can jump in, ask any questions you have, get support, DM us if you have any questions. And it's just an awesome community of people. So feel free to get that. Link in the comments in the description. So now we're going to be looking at It's Dart, which is a powerful AI project management tool that is really powerful, and you can get some MCPs. You can actually link this directly to whatever you code with locally. So if you want to start using this, pretty simple. If you go over to Spaces here, you can actually automate tasks and assign them to AI to complete for you. right? So for example, if we open up the spaces inside here, we can type in whatever we want to build. So let's say, for example, we're working on an SEO calculator app, like so. We can add in the description. Then we'll close that, and we've now set up the spaces for our AI calculator app, which you can see right here. All right, there's the tasks. And then inside here, if you click on brainstorm, and then click on, from here, you click on new task and then task AI. You can ask it to break it down into subtasks. So for example, like so, just fill in a title, fill out a description if you want to. And then click on task AI. Then you're going to click on, for example, break into subtasks, like you can see. And that's basically going to use the AI to figure out all the tasks that are required for this job. So for example, design the user interface, implement the core calculations logic, integrate the calculation logic with the user interface, test the app, and deploy the completed app to the chosen platform. Now, from here, what you can actually do is click on create task. There we go. And you can assign these to AI, right? So you can see here we've assigned this task to Dart. And it's like, right, I can't build or deploy apps directly, but I can write a detailed plan. And then you can reply to the AI directly inside there, or you can use the AI chat if you upgrade. Now, additionally, what you can also do is you can go into your settings over here. So let's go to settings. And then in the AI section, you can actually add, for example, ChatGPT or Claude, or even MCPs. And automations, and even a webhook directly inside Dart. So for example, if we click on this, start using the GPT, there's a custom GPT built for Dart where you can actually use this for project management as well. Again, it is totally free, so you can use this custom GPT for whatever you want. And then you're just going to sign in with dart.com, so let's do that. We'll allow this, and it basically connects to Dart directly. So it's got a custom GPT integration, and then it will take all the tasks that you're working on, and it kind of creates like a version of Trello, but that's on steroids. So you can see an example here, and then it's like there are more tasks beyond this, blah, blah, blah. And then if we go inside the MCP section here, we can actually link Dart and any MCP integration. Like you can see. And to do that, you can actually, for example, install it inside Client, Windsurf. You set up the MCP server like so. So let's grab that. And then you just need your Dart token to start using this. So let me show you an example of how this can be used. So we've gone to client over here. Then you're going to open the config file. which you can see. So we've got the config.json over here. And then from there, you can start using the MCP for Dart. You would just insert your Dart token over here, right, which you can get from Dart directly. Now to get your sorry about that, chaps. So basically, if you want to set this up, it's quite easy. And all you're going to do inside the chat here is you're going to say, okay, set up this in MCP config, right? I've plugged in the details of the Dart token, the API key, etc. And then it's like, right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up the MCP server in the MCP configuration file. Here's the details. I need to add this. And then it edits the JSON file inside the MCP. You've got the settings right there, right? Now, I'm using Claude just because it's easier and faster. It's usually the best with integrating directly inside MCPs. But if you want to use Gemini Pro or something like that, you probably can as well. So inside here, you see it's now said I've fixed the MCP settings, added it in, and here's all the tasks you can do. So for example, you can actually create tasks, you can list tasks, get the configuration file, get the task, update the task, and delete the task, right? So here's some examples of what it does, how to use it, and then it says, right, we just want to do a test run. So it said client wants to use a tool on the Dart MCP server, and we've plugged that in directly here. So you can see it's pulled in the tasks directly from the MCP server on Dart, right? Now, why is this important? It's important because basically you can connect like an AI version of Trello or any sort of project management tool, plug that directly into Client and Visual Studio Code, and then they can talk to each other, right? And it's really, really easy to do. So, for example, here, let's say we want to design the user interface for the SEO cost calculator. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say user.mcp for the project, and we'll insert the project details, which is building out the app. And we'll say do stage 1 plus mark it complete on the MCP. All right. And then from here, you can see the status is still open. Like you see, it's still open. So let's see if we can get this to communicate. It's now using the API request. It's creating the file. And you can see it's broken down into 2 stages. Complete stage 1, design the user interface, and then mark this task as complete in Dart MCP. And it's like, right, from the list of tasks I've retrieved earlier, I can see this task has the ID, and it's found the ID from the project management tool, and it's currently in the to-do status. So here's what it's going to do next. Now we're designing the cost calculator. and it's going off and doing its magic. Again, if you want the full like SOP and step-by-step tutorial on this, we've got it inside the AI Profit Boardroom. You can see all the resources, the example of the MCP code, plus a step-by-step example of how to use Dart AI along with the MCP server. This is all free, right? Dart is free, the MCP server is free. You can code for free, not with Claude 3.7 Sonnet, but with other APIs directly inside Visual Studio Code. And then, you've got a full project management suite where you can create tasks and projects with AI. You can plan them out. Then you can code locally with Client and mark them as complete and communicate between Dart and Client. So it's really cool. It's got some cool stuff in there for sure. And now it's going to test it in the browser. As you can see, so we've got the preview of it here. It's just testing it out. So it's using Claude Computer Use to do that. And working its magic right there. Now it's going to use the Dart MCP server to mark the task as done. And you can see now it says, great, I've successfully marked the task, designed the user interface for the cost calculator. It's done in the Dart MCP. Here we go, step by step, it's all done right here. And let's open this up. So we'll run the command. We can open up the SEO cost calculator. And then if we go back to its Dart, we'll log in here. And there, the task is done. Look at that. So you can see the task is done right there. It's pretty amazing. So just to be very, very clear here on what's happened. So we planned out the whole project inside Dart. Didn't cost us anything, completely free. Then we got the MCP server and we connected it directly to Visual Studio Code. Now with the MCP server inside Visual Studio Code, we retrieved the task, the stage 1 of the project that we planned out, completed it, and then marked it as complete inside Dart. Pretty amazing right there. And you can see it's completed right there. We could get Client to run through all of those different steps, complete them successfully, and then create the whole app and communicate with our kind of Trello-like AI project management tool here. And it's really easy to do. So if you want to get the full SOP, step-by-step, all the resources, how to install it, etc., feel free to get that inside the AI Success Lab. There's a free course inside here. It comes with all the latest updates on AI, all the stuff that I cover. You can see an example of the MCP code here. I actually added 2 insane automations right here. So you can see here, we actually created a AI Shorts automation that automates shorts for you with AI, including the audio and the video and everything else. And then it actually posts it to social media as well. And you can download the JSON file for free directly inside the resources section here. So this is constantly getting updated. Make sure you check it out. Link in the comments description. Just go to the description, click the first link right there. And if you want to upgrade and get support, coaching, if you want to get weekly calls with us, if you want to get an amazing community of serious people interested in AI, feel free to get that. Basically, we'll show you how to make more money and save time with AI, and that is directly inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description. Inside here, you've got all these different courses. You've got weekly Q&A calls, like you can see. You've got an awesome community, and you can DM us or any other members to get all the help and support that you need. So it's absolutely amazing. Feel free to get it. Link in the comments description, and I will see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.